Hey, Tasha, how are you this evening?
Good evening.
Listen,
Close
I got to
to the
tell you,
weekend.
huh?
It's close to the weekend.
It is. I am loving the braids on you.
Oh,
Like,
great. Yeah.
listen,
Well, thank you.
yes,
I
braids do you
I
well.
like the straight hair on you.
I appreciate it. So, tonight's topic is a really good one, I think. I forgive you, but did you forget, right? We wanted to take a bit of a spin on forgive and forget. Yes, we understand the adage forgive and forget because, not forgiving hurts you more than it's like, I think it was a Bishop Tutu statement that was it having resentment or harboring resentment is like drinking
The
poison, expecting your enemies to die,
Yeah.
right? But let's just be honest about it though. I forgive you, right? But we're talking about how the other person responds to that, right? Because that also ultimately, I think, impacts how we respond. So I'm going to ask you, do
Of
you
course I
forgive?
get the first question.
Huh?
So of course I get the first question.
Well, you're going to ask me too. And good evening, everybody. We want y'all to join in the comments, right? And let us know, how do you forgive and forget? Is it possible? Do you think you can? And
And should you?
and should you? And when should you? Right? Good evening, Gangsta E. So good to see you.
Evening, Evangeline.
And so, do you forgive and forget?
Well, the way my memory is set up, sometimes I do forget.
Yeah.
Um, I think after time, yeah, I do forget because it's what I want, right? If I do harm to someone, intentionally or unintentionally, right? If I ask for forgiveness, I do want the forgiveness, and I don't want it to be like that lingering thought every time we have an interaction.
Hmm.
But I think it takes time. To the second part of the question, like when, um, you know, it it sometimes takes time.
Yeah. And I want to ask, and because we got people jumping in here, let us know, do you forgive and forget? Do you find it easy to forgive and forget? So, so to put the question back on me, do I forgive and forget? I forgive, but I make space, right? And like just because Gail, I do not forget. Good evening, Gail.
Hi, Gail. No, I don't forget.
I don't forget. I mean, I'm with you. Like I do believe in what Dr. Maya Angelou said is when people show you who they are, you believe them the first time. I didn't always get that one, right? The first time. And while I do think people, and that doesn't mean that you have to harbor resentment, I think that you just kind of look at it like, oh, okay, this is who you are. Okay, I get it. I didn't know before. Now I know. And so for me, that's why I say it comes with forgiveness and some space, but I now know how to move. I move with you differently. Unless you show me something different, right? Unless you show me that you've had some remorse or some real change in behavior and uh, you've done the work to show me that you're going to be different, that you're not going to hurt me in the same place. I can't have you have the same access to me because the first time, shame on me. Dogs
Yeah,
dog bite you again. No, first time, shame on you. Second time, shame on me.
sound like George Bush.
Listen. I'm on water tonight.
Gail said, "I changed my behavior, which means the relationship is different." I
Absolutely.
mean,
Yeah, I agree with that.
I think it has a lot to do with when you say forgetting, like what surrounds the forgetting, right? Um, I I agree that the relationship will be different, and that may be a good thing, or it just be maybe a different thing, right? I have an example. Oh, I was going to ask you a question.
Sure.
Do you give the forgiveness even if the person hasn't asked for it, right? Like in order to move past something. Do you know what I mean? Okay, so let's say, here's my example. someone.
I got an answer. You ain't even got to give me the example. Okay,
Okay, go ahead. Okay,
no,
go ahead.
no, give me the example. I don't want to cut you off.
Situation, someone said something behind your back, you learned of what they said,
Yeah.
but you're in a position to help them, right? Do you change who you are from a character standpoint? Like, your job is helping people. Do you not help this person because of something they said to you, or do you continue to move in the vein of who you are and not letting their actions change you?
Their actions won't change me, and because again, they've shown me who they are, right? I will interact with them differently. That doesn't mean my character will change. It doesn't mean how I show up in the world changes. How I interact with them will be different because they are someone who talks behind my back. So I have a prime example. Hold on, let's see.
Oh, wait, answer the question though. Do you offer the forgiveness even if they haven't asked for it?
No, they haven't asked for it. Why would I give something they haven't asked for? Right? I just simply change the dynamics of the relationship. They've shown me who they are.
Because sometimes forgiveness is for you, it's not for the other person, it's so that you can move on.
But again, I've changed, they've shown me who they are. There's nothing to forgive. I now know who you are. You've now informed me who you are. There's nothing to forgive. I got it. I understand you. I mean, and maybe if that's what you call
Sure,
it.
there could be a need for forgiveness in the situation. If you're doing something nice and kind and they talk behind your back, that can be hurtful.
It can be.
So
But they've
you
shown me who they are.
You just
So-
hard ass, you just gonna keep it moving. Yeah.
I mean, like, okay, like, but now I know you're a person who, when something in kindness is done, you will do something mean and hurtful. Oh, okay. Well, now I know. We good now. I don't have to do that again. Or if I do it, I'm going to do it. If I do it again, I'm operating with knowing this is something that will likely happen. So I'm going to take the appropriate steps that when that happens, it doesn't even faze me. Right? So hold on. So Evangeline says, once I apologize and pray about it, I forget it. It is now in God's hands. Sometimes people don't know how to ask for forgiveness. Yeah, sometimes people don't know how to ask for forgiveness. And sometimes people don't think they've done anything wrong. Sometimes people haven't asked for forgiveness because they don't want forgiveness. They're okay with what they did. They justify what they've done by, right, whatever they want to pull together and justify their bad behavior. So I'll give an example. There was someone I was friends with, and I knew she could have challenging communications with people and get really mean and nasty when she was having arguments. Not something I like to do, but I saw that and I'm like, okay, she's never tried that with me. And then there was a case where I'm watching, and so she was having this big event. Matter of fact, she was getting married. And there was a lovely person, and maybe I'm saying they're lovely because this person was so happy about her wedding and being able to attend. And she was like, hey, I need to sort of budget some money. Just let me know like where it's going to be. And this bride went slam off on this girl and was like, I ain't tell you was invited, and who told you was invited, and da 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 da. I mean, and when I said to the girl, I was like, listen, hold on, she's just excited for you. She's just happy and she's trying to plan accordingly. Well, she shouldn't be thinking she's invited. Well, she was invited in verbally. And
Right.
so she kept trying to defend. And so I was like, oh, I'm gonna keep distance from this, because if you don't understand what you just did right there, I'm cool. We ain't got to do this. I don't ever have to feel it to see it.
So has there never been a situation for you where you were hurt and the other person never asked for forgiveness?
Yes, absolutely.
And you didn't need to forgive them. You were just like, oh, okay, I'm just going to move on.
Oh, we don't have the same relationship anymore.
So you don't offer forgiveness unless it's asked. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, because I can't say I have forgiven the situation, and I have a situation that is years old. I can't say I've forgiven it. I mean, it's not something I think about, but it certainly informs how we interact. Right. So there must be distance. I will without there being acknowledgement of the hurt that was done, and with steps to sort of show me that you've changed. I can't allow myself to be vulnerable to that relationship in that way again. Like, we are friendly, but that's about it.
And so what happens to the hurt? How do you get past it?
Oh, I'm past it.
How do you get past it?
Well, I mean, and truly, I don't know that I am. I mean, but it's not stopping me. Let me say this. It just simply impacts that relationship. If that makes sense.
Think.
Huh?
Maybe.
No, really. No, I know for sure. It only impacts that relationship. I promise you. It only impacts that relationship because that person has never acknowledged how they were so out of bounds, how they hurt me. And so the idea, and certainly that person has come to me and they're like, oh, like nothing ever happened. Oh no. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. And I'm just going to keep moving on because you've shown me who you are. Why would I continue to have you in my space that way?
Evangelist says you have to forgive for you. Hence, the line of questioning that I was saying, right? Like
Yeah.
if you were hurt, but you never forgave, like how do you really get over the hurt? Gail says, and you do not have to be mad at the person. They exist in a different role. You
I
move
would
on with your life. The egregious person is the one who is affected. Not always true, but different strokes for different folks. Sometimes the person who was egreged, is that a word? Is that how it works?
Go ahead.
is also affected, right? Like I'm
Absolutely.
pained because of something that happened, but in order for me to get over it and move on, even though that person didn't ask me for forgiveness, I give the forgiveness so that I can move on, and then I move into, if we ever interact again, it will be different. But I'm a Taurus, and so typically when it's over, yeah, I'm done. When I'm done, I'm done. That's it. Like I'll forgive you, but that's it.
So then you've not forgotten.
Oh yeah, it's gone.
I mean, but so then I'm confused because you've forgiven, but then you don't forget because you've now
Yeah, I
changed the
forgot. I
relationship.
closed the door and I never need to look that way again. And so it's literally forgotten. Close the door, paint it shut, it becomes, same color as the wall. Forget there's even a door there. Forget there was even a door there.
Right. So it's actually not too different than what I'm saying. It's really not too different from what I'm saying. I'm like, there's no relationship there. It's really the same thing.
On the in between about how I get over the hurt. Like the forgiveness is for me, even though that person didn't ask for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like, forgiveness is for me, I guess. No, I've not forgiven. No, I can't say I've forgiven. Yeah. Because you've never acknowledged it. Like, that's someone who's that's like, let's give a pretty big metaphor. Someone comes, slaps you across the face in front of, guess Will Smith, right? We'll use that example, right? I was like, oh yeah, that happened. Yeah. Right. Will Smith. Should Chris Rock just forgive him?
You have to put the word just forgive him.
Okay. Should Chris Rock forgive him if he doesn't ask for forgiveness?
If Chris Rock was, if his feelings were hurt and he's crying about, the embarrassment and all these things that are surrounding emotions.
Oh, why he got to be crying about the embarrassment? See, there you go. Why he got to be crying about the embarrassment?
Then yes, offering that forgiveness to say, I'm going to turn this over to God and I forgive him. I'm going to move past this because that's what I need to do. Then yes, he can offer that forgiveness without Will Smith asking for it because it's for him. It's got nothing to do with Will.
And so then how does he, based on this model here, how does he then move with Will?
So in this model, I forgive you. So Chris is like, I forgive you, but I'm not going to forget. If I see you walking up on me again, I might duck and move.
I mean, fair. I mean, so I think we're kind of saying the same thing.
There's a step missing, right? In your scenarios and in the examples that you gave, you didn't do the first part. You didn't do the I forgive you. You did the forget, but you didn't do the I forgive you. You said I didn't forgive because they didn't
I
ask for
don't forget this. I mean, and I think it also depends. And I think because it's nuanced, to your point, it's nuanced for me. I don't forget because you've just shown me who you are, and now I'm just more informed. And so now I just move differently with you all together. I'm not going to be mean to you. I'm not going to try to avenge you. I'm not going to be disrespectful. I'm not going to act out of my character. But you certainly won't get the full light of Sharon, and that's just your penance in life. You will suffer that consequence. You will not know what it is to have the joy of me in your life from this day forward.
They are really missing out. Evangelist says you have to learn to look at a person's heart. Sometimes you can help a person by having a discussion with them to get them to see how they made you feel. Now, I hear you. You a little further along with the Lord.
I'm about to say your life's journey show taught you lessons. I ain't there yet.
Moving on is prompted by my dealing with it and understanding that this has happened and this is the result. Should Will ignore the continual dumping on his wife? Oh, we're not getting into that conversation.
We're not doing that, Gail.
Actions have consequences for all. The person becomes vapor. Woo! Vapor, she says. Vapor.
Not sure if Gail forgives.
It's vapor.
I'm not sure. Yes. But I mean, I just into Gangsta E's point about having the conversation with the person. I think that's fair. I think if you're mature enough and you can handle it, and you're emotionally sort of repaired enough, for lack of a better word, you're emotionally stronger to handle it, right? But
I think it also depends on the relationship.
It depends on the relationship.
If
What's worth it to you?
About a familial relationship, right? Somebody that, family reunion, cousins, aunties, mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, brothers, sisters, right? Then yeah, have the conversation. But these randoms that I can, do without, vapor.
Yeah. Well, and I think it also depends on, not only to your point, the relationship, but also what they did. Did they do something that they know would intentionally, that would hurt you? Right? Did they do something that they knew when they did it, it was disrespectful? Did they do something that they knew would make you feel terrible? Right? And so hold on, we got Kelly Sanders. I agree. Forgiveness is for you. It can repair your relationship too. Family is the hardest to have the conversation with.
I agree, because I think, to that point, Gail, because for me personally, I think that someone who is my family wouldn't hurt me, right? And I'm more vulnerable with those people who are closest to me. And so when I am hurt by them, it's deep and super hurtful, right? Not like these people that are outside of, the circle, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to have those conversations. But again, to me, what did they do? So Raquel says, whether I forgive and or forget is dependent on the relationship. Okay, Raquel. The egregiousness, she spelled it right too, of the offense. The egregiousness, Raquel, with all the education of the offense and the impact of the offense on other important factors in my life, for sure. Gail, some people are just mean and evil, and forgiving their behaviors is not a deterrent at all.
Yeah.
That part.
Laughing.
Yeah, that part. I mean, but so I think, Raquel, that's absolutely it. Who it is, the relationship they are, and the relationship that you have, and what they've done. Right? So, okay, if someone said they were going to do something for me and they forgot to pick something up for me. No, classic example. I had a friend who said he was going to help me move, offered to help me move, said he was going to help me move. I'm moving. I'm organizing everything in my house to move an entire house to a whole nother state. This brother never even called, showed up, never did nothing. Left me hanging high and dry. I wasn't moving a television from one room to the next. I was moving my entire life to a different state.
Yeah.
Calls me months later. Oh yeah, my bad about that. And just wants me to just move on past it.
With no remorse. And so it's in that part is important for the forgiveness.
And let me say, it's momentary remorse.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, that was so messed up for me. I'm so sorry. But then he only wants to be uncomfortable for a couple of minutes, and then he wants you to move past it. However, my experience with him is that he does it again.
Mm-hmm.
So you can forgive. He wants you to forgive. He's going to ask for forgiveness, but he's not really interested in changing. And so I now deal with him very differently. And it's unfortunate, or what's unfortunate with him to me is that he keeps like coming to me like, oh, you can depend on me. You can. No, I can't. You've never been dependable. Like never. What are you talking about?
Ooh. A parent walks out on you and 30 years later, they want to know if we call, forgiveness would be hard.
Yeah. Now that's a hard one.
That family, man. That's the deepest hurt.
Right.
Deepest hurt.
That family is the deepest hurt. But so I think what we've come to here, that it's based on relationship and the egregiousness. Okay, Raquel with
word of the night.
Word of the night.
I mean, but there's also,
Wait, hold on. You gotta hell no. Now, wait a minute. Gangsta E done went from this very high on the mountain.
We should have a conversation.
We should.
To hell no.
Hell no.
That's hilarious. So yes, maybe it's also according to timing. We talked about this before. Okay, hold on. Kelly says there is an apology language. If that person uses your apology language, you can accept it better. So that's, the other part of it is, the remorse of the person, right? So that apology language that she's speaking of, where is that in this equation, right? Because that's sort of the comma, right? I forgive you, maybe sort of contingent upon or when and if you are using my apology language, or you ask for it and you're sincere about it. And then there's, maybe some level of forgetting and moving past it.
I think there has to be language and action and change behavior. The two have to go hand in hand, right? If you continually don't show up, or you are continually thoughtless, right? As you say many times, the best apology is change behavior. If you don't change your behavior, what exactly am I forgiving? I'm actually just in denial of who you are and how you treat me. Yeah. That's really all that it is, right? So I've forgiven, but I continue to open up and we continue to engage and you continue to do the same thing. You don't really want forgiveness. And if I've forgotten, for someone who really, again, uses apology language, but doesn't do the follow-up action, well, then I'm just opening myself up for the same exact experience over and over again. And so the definition of insanity is what?
Doing the same thing, expecting a different result.
That's right.
Yeah. So we talked about this. How do we tie this back to accountability, right? For example, in our relationship, our accountability relationship. I will say that one of the things that we teach is about seeing your blind spots, right? And oftentimes we can be so close to a situation that we miss the signs, right? That the same thing is happening over and over and over again, right? And you do want to get past it. And so having the clarity of thought of someone who's not so clouded by the emotions maybe connected to a situation is helpful to have you thinking through it. So
Yeah, I would agree. Like that's a major key of having an accountability partner is helping them see your blind spots and showing you a different perspective and helping you get out your own way,
yeah,
right?
for
Because
for both reasons, right? Like get out of your own way, go ahead and forgive, right? Or
yeah,
get out of your own way, just have it
yeah,
again, right? Yeah. Yeah.
right. Get out of your own way and see how your behavior is also contributing to the
Yes.
situation,
Yes.
right? Because if it's a two-way street.
Takes two to tango.
It does. It does. It does. So this has been an absolutely fantastic conversation tonight, ma'am. I want to say for anyone who is watching us, please follow us on social, Facebook. If you're here on Facebook tonight, AQ Partners, Instagram, AQ_partners, and the AQpartners.com. Tasha and I are about to get really good at, because we're not really good at social media. Let me just say that out there. We're not. But
Hold
we're
us
really trying to
accountable.
get better. Huh?
I said, hold us accountable.
Hold us accountable. We're about to get a lot better so you all can see what we're doing and the things that are coming up. And if you're interested in taking an accountability course, we have one called Change the Game, right? Where we kind of help you and be accountable to you to the goals that you're trying to do and achieve in a step-by-step way. And you can go at your own pace, right? And so you can go to bit.ly/AQ class to do that.
All right. Thanks for joining, everyone. Appreciate the rich conversation.
Yes, love the rich conversation. It is amazing. Good night, everybody.
All right. Good night.